really takes a punch to the stomach. Brutal. Everyone's issue with GTA 2 was that it simply wasn't innovative. GTA 2 was a great idea, but not a must-play. But DMA Design and Rockstar Games would go on to fix that in the next game in this series, which changed gaming forever. So it's now 2001, where Rockstar and DMA Design have the opportunity to capitalize on great sales and reimagine this successful IP. Since GTA 1 and 2 had been criticized heavily for its lackluster graphics, it only made sense for Rockstar and DMA to take their game in a new direction, one that brings them to the 3D universe. And Rockstar's first release in their 3D universe was Grand Theft Auto 3, exclusively available on the PlayStation 2 for its first year of its release, with eventual releases on PC and Xbox. GTA 3 was the third installment to the mainline games of the Grand Theft Auto franchise, and by this point, the series had built a sizable fan base who were interested in seeing just what direction Rockstar and DMA had planned for their next potential release. And this time, Rockstar and DMA wanted to do something revolutionary, with a fully 3D open world, including new gameplay mechanics, better music, better visuals, and a full-fledged cinematic story. And GTA 3's story was pretty enticing and unique, especially for a video game. Essentially, our silent protagonist, Claude, which is the same name of the protagonist from GTA 2, gets betrayed by his girlfriend during a bank robbery that leads him on a quest seeking revenge. The game takes place in a fictional town called Liberty City, a callback to the original GTA released in 1997, with a loose resemblance to New York City. Claude's quest to get revenge on his girlfriend and the people who robbed and almost killed him gets him wrapped up in the same elements that were the heart of the first two GTA games, including gang violence, drugs and police corruption, carjacking, murders and vigilantism, bribery, and even domestic terrorism. Remember, I said this franchise was controversial. Claude evolves into a downright criminal mastermind, and this is most often visualized through the game's extremely fun gameplay mechanic, the Wanted, which updates on the player's HUD using stars to display the current wanted level. As you commit more crimes in public view, law enforcement will increasingly search and send more powerful forces to hunt you down. But this can all be alleviated by staying out of sight and out of trouble. Throughout the story, you meet a lot of incredible characters like Frank Vincent, a Don in the Leone Mafia, or Ray Machowski, a corrupt local police inspector. Every single character you meet is flawed in their own depraved ways, associated with some kind of criminal act, and there is no shortage of criminals. From dealing with the triads, the Colombian cartel, the mafia, the Yakuza, and even the city's equivalent of the NYPD, there is no shortage of street gangs and violence in GTA 3. By the end of the game, Claude is successful in finding and killing his ruthless ex-girlfriend, now turned cartel leader, Catalina, by destroying her escape helicopter after numerous violent confrontations. So now that we got the story down, let's talk about development, which officially began in 1999. The original core development team for GTA 3 had about 23 members from DMA Design, now based in Edinburgh, that worked closely alongside Rockstar Games to bring their vision to life. The idea of a 3D open world game was daunting, with it never really being done before. Sure, for the 3 people out there who study video game history, they might consider 1985's Mercenary to be the first ever open world 3D game. And the 90s did see some games start to explore the 3D open concept, with games like Super Mario 64 and Zelda Ocarina of Time flirting with the concept, but still being nowhere near a true open world experience. There was clearly a growing demand for new technology in gaming, and although Rockstar had a history of successful 2D releases, it was heavily pressuring its development teams across the globe to make a 3D open world game possible. So, the teams at DMA and Rockstar began working on GTA 3 with the intent to release on the Dreamcast, but changed course to focus on a release for the PlayStation 2 instead. And, I mean, who could blame them? The PlayStation 2 was wildly successful in riding the hype with its previously successful older brother, the PlayStation. Side note, believe it or not, GTA 3 was actually offered to Microsoft first as an Xbox exclusive, but Microsoft fumbled the bag entirely, declining to take the game on due to the adult graphic and violent nature of the game. Development was proceeding surprisingly smoothly. By 2001, the entire city of GTA 3 had been designed, including many of the cars and weapons planned for the game, with a concrete direction finally being decided on. DMA was going to follow in the footsteps of previous GTA games and make their version of a crime simulation game. Now, when we talk about 3D open worlds, it's incredibly important to talk about design. See, at this point in history, graphics had become almost as important as story and gameplay elements. And when it came to GTA 3, the goal of the art team behind the game was to revolutionize the 3D open world genre by making GTA 3 more than a thing you played, and instead trying to make it a place you lived in. The goal was to make a living, breathing 3D world using the power of Criterion's game renderware game engine and the new immense graphics capability of the PlayStation 2. See, the PlayStation 2 introduced the ability to use DVDs rather than CDs, and in layman's terms, it essentially means more storage and data, which is super important for things like animation, graphics, and music. And let's actually talk about that living city design for a second. See, GTA 3 was the first installment in the GTA universe to be able to use a third-person camera view, which is important when we talk about human psychology. Third-person POVs help players and viewers alike to make a better connection with the characters they're witnessing because the characters are constantly on the screen. It's easier to judge how a person or character feels by being able to witness their actual reactions and body language in real time. You connect with the character, but never actually feel like you are the character, so it's easier to assign blame for the choices we ourselves make, while also feeding further and deeper into roleplay elements. And in a game like GTA 3 that starts off with such an emotional initial opening act, it's almost a no-brainer to tie that compelling story into a third-person perspective. And DMA's design choices that took player experience into account didn't stop there. It's estimated that the game had over 80,000 voice lines. The team also put in the effort to make a realistic radio system with about 3.5 hours of in-game radio material, including a huge library of different genres of music to make skipping through the radio feel like a way more realistic American experience. This game screamed attention to detail and truly was a combination of a development studio's passion and work ethic combined with a